Hello and welcome or welcome back to Fix My AG Doll. Today I'm doing part two of the Bring Back the Best Friends videos. So if you missed part one, I'll link it down below if you're interested. Basically, I went into bringing back the best friends that American Girl had made in the mid to late 2000s. And in part two here, I'm going to be proposing my suggestions for which of the girls that we currently have in the historical line should get a best friend doll who haven't had a best friend doll, and basically putting together some very basic ideas for a plot line or plot points for the story, and focusing especially on the fashion that I would love to see and little accessories here and there. Before I dive in, go ahead and click like, subscribe, all those things that really helps me out. And I also want to say thank you so much. I've reached 400 subscribers, so I'm very grateful to each and every one of you who takes the time to watch my videos and listening to me rant and rave about American Girl doll in my bedroom. It really means a lot to me, and I've loved learning from all of you and hearing about your interests and how you interact with American Girl as well. So let's go ahead and dive in. So who should have a best friend? So I'm going to propose three characters that American Girl currently has that I think should have a best friend doll, and you can probably tell from the pictures who they are, but bear with me. So the first person that I think should get one is Maryellen. So the person that I think that Maryellen should have as a best friend is Angela. So if you don't know Angela, she is her Italian friend who's new to school, and there's some drama and beef between the Karens and Maryellen as a result of Maryellen becoming friends with Angela. I don't want to give away more than that, but that's kind of the gist. Angela is Italian. She moved from Italy to the US. I personally love an immigration story in the American Girl doll series because most people who are here have, immigrants in their ancestral line. And so it's something that we can use to interact with to kind of, make connections to our roots. Especially when we think about immigration in the US, like Italians, that's a huge portion of the population of immigrants who came over. And so we haven't really had that story told in the historical line. So I think that that would be really interesting. Obviously, like Angela's experience in the 1950s coming over is very different than Italians coming over at the end of the 19th century, but I think it's still a really cool opportunity as well. So my proposal in terms of what I think that she should look like, I would like to see her with the Marie Grace or the Joss face mold with a medium skin tone, with like really dark, almost black hair with these like micro bangs. So I kind of edited some of these dolls that we already have in existence to kind of get a ballpark of what these dolls could look like. So you'll see that for all these dolls moving forward. And also the braids, and having really dark, almost black eyes with very blushed cheeks. I think in terms of plot points, so like I said, she's from Italy, and in the 1950s is when you start to get some like commercial air travel. It's obviously only for the wealthy. To me, it's unclear whether Angela it comes from a wealthy family or not based on the way that I read the book, but it is, I can't remember if it's in the first book or the second. I think it's in the second book. It's mentioned that Angela goes back to Italy for the summer, which in my mind, regardless of whether you went by ship or by air travel, like you'd have to have quite a bit of disposable income to just like leave your house and have your parents not work for a summer to go back. So I think that in terms of her book, I would like her to be in the US, but then have a huge chunk of it her being traveling back to Italy. And so we get to learn a little bit about like what was international travel like back then, and also I don't think in the book, and you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, I don't think we get an explanation for like why she went back, but I think it'd be interesting if she went back either for a funeral or for a wedding, so we can see some of the cultural practices around those, major milestone events, especially when we think about, the target demographic of American Girl being children in like that middle childhood age range. That's usually when we start seeing children interacting with funerals and like people passing on. And so I think that that's a great learning experience or a talking point that then parents can use with their children. And I think that it'd also be a cool opportunity to get this kind of plot point of she feels like she doesn't fully belong in Italy or in America anymore because she's adopted like some Americanisms and some aspects of American life that she likes, but and so, she doesn't feel like she fully blends in anymore in Italy, but of course, she's not fully accepted in America either, and, has aspects of her Italian culture that are still at tension with the American culture. So exploring that, I think, would be really, really interesting. And just kind of like the general pros and cons of life in America versus life in Italy. And I think that more exploration of the Red Scare and how it specifically affects her family would be really, really interesting. If you didn't watch my first video, again, I recommend that like the best friends get like a 3-book series. So I think another book would be really, really cool if they actually like dove deep into the Red Scare and maybe like one of her family members is targeted in the community. So yeah, those are my ideas for there. Obviously, for all of these, I should have mentioned this at the beginning, but like let me know what you think would be interesting to include either as outfits or as plot points, character development, all that. I love to hear people's creativity and imagination. So yeah, in terms of her meet outfit, I would love if we got this kind of like mock turtleneck, cashmere looking, I don't think it's actually cashmere, blouse with, the classic style skirt from the 1950s with like the poof. If she could come with a crinoline, that would be even better. Or I would love to see something like this, where she has like the little belt and a collared neckline. Yeah, I think that that would look really, really adorable with some shoes. When I was doing my research, there was like so many styles of shoes in the 1950s that like Mary Ellen hasn't had. I'm like, why is Mary Ellen's default in her outfits pretty much just saddle shoes or flats? Like there's so much more diversity of shoes in the 1950s. When I was looking through the Sears catalogs, I was like, what? So I would love to see like some style of shoe like this, where it's like a loafer meets flat, or just loafers in general, or these like style kind of leather flats with like the brown and the kind of textured pattern on the front and the double strap going across the top of the foot. And these like basket purses seem to have been having a moment. I think that that would just be so, so, so cute if she could have like a basket purse. And then obviously every doll needs to come with her jammies. So I would love to see, like, kind of like a matching moment for her, something like this. I know that these are younger kids, but I love this like one piece with the little belt going across. Absolutely iconic. I would love that. It kind of reminds me of Claudie's, but obviously the silhouette is like a little bit different and, this is a different pattern. I think that American Girl in general should bring back having like the undergarments that are like period accurate. So I would love to see an undergarment for Angela. That's kind of one of these like one piece cotton slips. I think that that would be really, really cute. And then a traveling to Italy outfit. 1950s, when you were traveling, you dressed up much more than we do now. Now we like, go in our sweats, or some people go in their pajamas. But back then it was like a moment. So I want to see that reflected. I want to see like a gorgeous like 2-piece suit, like one of these. Absolutely iconic. I would love to see like a little camera that she could, have kind of like how Kit had her camera. So either having like a camera or even better, in my opinion, a video camera, because, that was a new thing and slightly like more people were getting them around the 1950s. And then, having like a traveling case would be really, really cool too. a swimsuit. Obviously, she lives in Florida. Italy is also really nice weather over the summer, so having a cute little swimsuit would be really nice too. We know that Maryellen has a lot of different swimsuits, but we haven't really seen, at least I don't think any of Maryellen's suits kind of embodies this like tighter, almost like mini dress look. So I think that that would be really cute. And then I would love to see like a play or a casual outfit for her. So especially something with like these shorts. I'm assuming these are like a cotton short, and then one of these like sweater vests with these different patterns I think would be really cute. These sneakers, I was like trying to think about it, and like Mary Ellen doesn't really have sneakers, and I'm like, I feel like tennis shoes are kind of like iconically 1950s, so I don't really understand why they haven't done that. So let's give her a tennis shoe with a fun, like, look at this entirely denim outfit. That would be iconic. I would love to see Angela embodying the Canadian tuxedo. Okay, so now I also think Claudie should have her best friend moment, and this would be Nina. Nina, she's like in the first book, but she's not really in there a lot, and then she's like barely in it in the second book. But what we do see of her is we know that Nina comes from a family that has much more disposable income than Claudie. I mean, Claudie's hardly has any, and that causes like some tension between Claudie and Nina because Nina makes suggestions that are kind of, let's say, not appropriate or not realistic given Claudie's family's financial situation. So Nina would also give us an opportunity to see maybe the more not upper class, she's not upper class, but like more of like the middle class outfits that would have been available at that time. Based on the illustration of her, I think that she would look like a Nanea mold or a Joss mold. So here I took two dolls and darkened their skin to give an idea of what that looks like, because I realized that they haven't made darker skinned versions of either of those face molds, which is really a shame because like looking here, I'm just like, oh my gosh, they would look so cute. Why haven't they done that? So I think that this would be a great opportunity to give us a darker skinned Anea or Joss face mold. I think that it's hard to tell, like the illustrations are so teeny tiny, but she looks like she has dark eyes, maybe dark navy. So yeah, I don't know, somewhere in there. And then giving her bluish black textured long hair and pulled into a braid. When we have like our tech in the historical line, when we have our dolls with textured hair, so Addie, Melody, Claudie obviously has her curls. They tend to do like a reddish tint or like brownish and reddish undertones in the hair. So I would love to see more of that like bluish black tinted hair. In terms of like my idea for her book, so pretty much the only thing we know about her personality is that she's really good at dance and she's better at dance than Claudie, and that her family has more disposable income than Claudie. Like that's pretty much all we know. Besides, that she's kind, she's supportive, she's caring for Claudie, all of that kind of stuff. So I do want her to have more hobbies, more interests, and of course I would like to have like a dancing element, and I think that for American Girl that makes sense because I think dancing outfits tend to sell pretty well. So of course give her another dancing outfit. That's fine with me. But I would also like to see, maybe she's like really into like following what's going on with Egyptian archaeology that's happening at that time, and maybe she's really excited about it. She's wanting to learn about it. We don't really see Claudie in school, so I think this would also give us an opportunity to have a school story, and maybe part of it is that, Nina has to do like a school project and she has to report on current events or something. And maybe, because she's so fascinated about Egyptian archaeology, she pulls news stories about that, and maybe there's some exploration about her kind of coming to the realization that, it's these like colonizers coming in and taking a bunch of these artifacts and taking them out of Egypt and taking that history out of Egypt and having some like empathy for that situation and kind of that exploration of that tension that we still have to this day. I mean, Egypt still doesn't have so many of its artifacts. So I think that that would be a really nice way to kind of tie in like current events with like when this movement really started. And within, thinking about this time period, there is a lot of stuff happening in terms of civil rights in the 1920s, and also just like things going on in American history that could be touched on. So the Rosewood Massacre happened, which was a racially motivated massacre of Black folks in Florida. So, we could see her interacting with hearing about that and maybe participating in, movements as a result of that massacre. You also see that Yankee Stadium opens up in the Bronx. Maybe she's a baseball fan, a la Kit. One of the boardwalks at Coney Island officially opened, so we could have another Coney Island story, a la Rebecca. Calvin Coolidge became the president after Warren G. Harding died, so that could be an interesting plot point as well, the death of a president. And then the Disney Company was also founded around that time, so maybe she goes to watch one of Disney's first short films in a movie theater. So yeah, those are some ideas for that. In terms of her meet outfit, finding outfits from the 1920s was like harder than the 50s, obviously. Or maybe that's not obvious, but finding catalogs, like the further back you go, it's harder and harder. But I would love for her to have, a nice dress moment, especially with these like longer collars like this with some embroidery on it. I think that that would be really cute, or one of these kind of sailor type dresses as well. And you can see like all the cute little collars like this. I would just love, I want a collar moment is basically what I'm trying to say, with a cute cloche hat with like the flower embellishments would be so, so pretty. Claudie's cloche hat just to me is kind of lacking. It's kind of like plain and boring, and it's also not super well made, so I think that Nina should get a very well made cloche hat. I would love to see her having like one of these gorgeous purses from the 1920s. So you have these, they look like they're made of metal. I don't think that they are, but like they have like a mirror on the inside. That would be really, really cool. Or these round bags. I think that would be adorable. And then in terms of shoes, I would love to see a boot moment, because I don't think Claudie, I'm trying to think about this. No, Claudie doesn't have any boots, which would be odd because in New York, with how like rainy it is, it obviously snows in the winter. The streets can be gross, especially in the 20s. Like, you probably want a boot. You probably don't want to be walking around in Mary Janes all the time. So having a boot moment would make a lot of sense. Would love a pajama moment again. I think especially if she had like kind of similar matching jammies to Claudie, I would love to see that. Maybe they can tie in like a sleepover story to that. And then of course also having some period accurate undergarments would be really cool as well. So they have these like kind of like long bloomers. I don't know what the actual term is for this, but so it's not just like the bottom, it's like all in one piece. So I think that that would be really cool as an option to be able to buy. A play or a casual outfit, of course, especially with Nina's family having more disposable income than Claudie. Like, she probably would have something to like change into to go out and run around and play sports or whatever she wants to do. I really loved this outfit in particular, where it has this like jumper on top of a shirt. I can't tell if it's two pieces or one, but I think that that would be an awesome choice. And also looking at these like plaid moments or gingham moments back here, these like really interesting collar cutouts, I think would be fun to kind of add more personality and more detail to make the dresses really stand out. And then a holiday or a winter outfit. And this would be a great opportunity to also give Claudie a holiday dress because I don't know why she doesn't have one. So something with like ruffles would be really cute, or these kind of like longer, more flowy sleeves. I would love to see something like that. And then I think this would also be a fun opportunity to give like a union suit. So like basically like a wool suit, like a one piece that goes underneath your clothes to keep you warm. Because again, New York, especially back then, got very cold during the winter. And a school outfit. So these sweaters, oh my God, so cute. I absolutely love these, especially this one with the pattern. Oh, obsessed. I would love to see something like that. And of course, a leather, nicely soled shoe would go with that. And then if they wanted to go with like a dress, I think a dress with like a little bow in the back would be really adorable with like some knee-high socks. Yes, please. And last but not least, who should have a best friend? Miss Rebecca Rubin, and I think that this has been something that's been widely requested, but I think that her cousin Anna should be made into a doll. The hard part about this is that Anna's face looks different in every single illustration that she's in. I don't understand if they had like a million different illustrators all working or different people were giving like different pieces of feedback. Right here, right here, and right here is all supposed to be the same person. Those are all clearly three different children. Like there's nothing alike besides like vaguely the hair color about these portraits. So I kind of went with this one over here because I think that she looks really cute. So I think that this would be a fun opportunity to make a light skinned Claudie mold doll. She kind of has like these round cheeks. Her nose in this illustration looks so similar to the nose in the Claudie face mold. And she also has these like really long eyebrows that would work really well with the Claudie face mold as well. And then giving her this wig that's on Yvette and I don't know, one of the Truly Me dolls. I'm sure someone down in the comments will remember which one that is. And giving it this like reddish brown tint. So kind of this like chestnut brown hair. Hard to tell. I think that she has brown eyes. So we're going to go with giving her brown eyes. And I think in terms of her story, I would love for it to start with her point of view of coming over from Russia to America and this kind of uncertainty of the move. If you remember from Rebecca's first book, there's a lot of kind of communication back and forth that Anna is very sickly. They're not sure if she's going to make it. And so hearing from Anna's perspective about that move would be really, really interesting. Maybe she makes a friend on the boat who's from a different Eastern European country. So like, just as an example, let's say that they're from Belarus, and even though the languages are similar, they're not exactly the same, and so, it'd be interesting to see them like learning how to communicate with each other, teaching each other like the words that are different, and then of course the experience at Ellis Island that she has. I would also, in another book, would love to see an exploration more deeply of more Jewish holidays because in the Rebecca books, and I'm not saying this is like good or bad, they kind of like very quickly like it happens like Hanukkah and I think it's Passover. I can't remember. In her birthday book, I think it is. They just kind of like rush through it very quickly. Like neither of those are actually really like central plot points. And I think that would be an interesting opportunity to hear more like maybe we see Yom Kippur, for example. In terms of her meet outfit, so we know that Anna is much, much poorer than Rebecca. So, it's really hard to find like pictures that would actually be something that she could wear or would wear. And so for her meet outfit, I'm going to kind of go with this maybe assumption that these are hand-me-down clothes from Rebecca or Rebecca's sisters. So, having these like knee-ish length, or just past the knee, I should say, length dresses. I think that a green dress would look really cute on her, but having these little like ruffles, and obviously like the drop waist is something that's really, really popular. I think that it'd be appropriate for her to also have a work dress because she has to do a lot more helping out around the house than Rebecca would. I personally really like when dolls have like the work dresses, because it teaches us a lot about, you know, the kinds of things that they would have been doing. So it would be like very, very simple garments, you know, blouse and a skirt with some work boots, an apron maybe. And then I would also love to see outfits from Russia. It was so hard to find outfits from this exact time period for children. But, you know, when you think of Russian clothing, especially from that time era, it's like a lot of like florals and bright reds and vivid greens and these like gorgeous, gorgeous deep blues. So I'd love to see that, especially with, you know, covering for the hair. And really, really, I just want these like gorgeous prints. I just really, really love the beautiful, beautiful prints. And then a holiday or winter outfit. Holiday outfit, if they would choose to go with any of the other Jewish high holidays, which then, you know, not all of them are in the winter, so then that would be different. And again, there might be a plot point of like, this is a hand-me-down dress, which I think is totally fine given the family's economic situation. Or, you know, I don't have any of these pictures up here, but they could be more traditional Russian dress from that time period, which would be really interesting as well. But a winter outfit, I think, would also be very appropriate given that it gets, again, cold in New York. I love whatever this is here. I can't tell if this is like a boot that goes all the way up or some kind of like stocking. Whatever this is, I'm obsessed with it, and I would love to see this made into a G form. And of course, a hat moment too. I love a good hat moment. PJs and underwear, having these long embellished undergarments, with, again, period accurate underwear as well. And that's all I have for you. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of my ideas, and please let me know what ideas you have. Are there other characters that American Girl currently has in store that you think deserve a best friend? Who would you pick from their stories? What kind of outfits would you want? What kind of plot points? Leave all that down in the comments. I'm really excited to hear what everyone's ideas are. So thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.